Hello, 6th grade. In this video, we're going to be dealing with adding and subtracting fractions. The most important rule when we're adding or subtracting fractions is to remember that we must have a common denominator. Okay, anytime we're adding or subtracting fractions, our denominators have to be the same, otherwise we can't add or subtract those. So our first example, we have the fraction 3/10 plus 1/10. And in this example, we do have common denominators. The denominator is 10 in both of these fractions. So once our denominators are common, then we add the numerators together. Okay, we add the numerators. We do not add the denominators. So what we're going to do is 3/10 plus 1/10. We're going to keep the denominator the same. The denominator is 10. And then we're going to add our numerators together. Our numerators are 3 and 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. So we get the fraction 4/10. Anytime we're adding or subtracting fractions or really doing anything with fractions, we want to leave our answers in simplest form. So that means we need to reduce. 4/10 reduces to the fraction 2/5 if we divide both 4 and 10 by 2. So our answer to this problem is 2/5. Okay, now let's talk about a problem where we have uncommon denominators. Number 2, we're taking 5/6 minus 3/8. So our first step is we need to find a common denominator of 6 and 8. And we do that by thinking, what is the least common multiple of 6 and 8? Okay, what is the least common multiple? Well, the LCM of 6 and 8 is 24. 24 is the smallest number that both 6 and 8 will go into. So we're going to rewrite this problem using equivalent fractions, and we're going to turn both the 6 and the 8 into a 24. And so we're going to do that by some multiplication. So again, I'll recopy the problem. 5/6 minus 3/8. We can turn a 6 into a 24 by multiplying it by 4. Well, whatever you multiply the denominator of a fraction of, you have to also multiply the numerator by that. Otherwise, you're changing the fraction. Remember, we want to keep these fractions equivalent. So 5 times 4 is going to be 20. 20 24ths is the same as 5/6. It's just that 20 24ths is not reduced. Next, we're going to turn 8 into a 24, and we're going to do that by multiplying it by 3. And if I multiply my denominator by 3, I also have to multiply my numerator by 3. So this is going to give me 9 over 24. So now that I have common denominators, again, we're going to do what we did in example 1. We'll keep the denominator, which is 24, and we'll subtract our numerators, 20 minus 9. 20 minus 9 is 11. And so we end up getting the fraction 11 over 24, which is reduced. Okay, let's practice some of these on the back now. Number 3, 11/15 plus 7/15. I have common denominators, so I will keep the denominator 15, and I'll combine my numerators 11 plus 7. 11 plus 7 is 18, so I get the fraction 18/15. 18/15 will reduce, so I can divide both 18 and 15 by 3. And that gives me the fraction 6/5. 6/5. 6/5 is an improper fraction, so we want to change this to a mixed number. And remember, we do that by taking the numerator divided by the denominator. So 6 divided by 5. 5 goes into 6 one whole time. And then we get a remainder of 1. So this becomes 1 and 1/5. Number 4, 3/16 minus 1/16. Again, we have common denominators, so we're going to keep the denominator, 16, and subtract the numerators, 3 minus 1. 3 minus 1 is 2, so we get 2/16, and 2/16 reduces. I can divide both 2 and 16 by 2, and this gives me the fraction 1/8. Number 5, 8/21 plus 5/21. Again, common denominators, so I will keep my denominator, a 21. I will add my numerators, 8 plus 5. 8 plus 5 is 13, so I get 13 over 21, and this is reduced, so this is my answer. Number 6, 11 twelfths plus 5 sixths. Well, we have uncommon denominators, so our first step is to figure out what the least common multiple of 12 and 6 is, and that LCM would be 12. So I can leave my first fraction alone because it already has a 12 as its denominator, but my second fraction, I need to turn that denominator into a 12, and I can do that by multiplying the 6 by 2. And if I do that on the bottom, I also have to do that on the top. So 5 sixths becomes the equivalent fraction 10 twelfths, and now I can add that to 11 twelfths because they have common denominators. So my denominator here will be 12, and then I'm going to take 11 plus 10 to get 21. So this gives me the improper fraction 21 twelfths. I can reduce this fraction by dividing both 21 and 12 by 3, first of all. This gives me the improper fraction 7 fourths, which I still need to make a mixed number. So that's going to be 7 divided by 4. 4 goes into 7 one whole time, and we get a remainder of 3. So this becomes 1 and 3 fourths as a mixed number. Number 7, 7 eighths minus 5 twelfths. Again, uncommon denominators, so I want to make these denominators the same. So I'm going to think of the LCM of 8 and 12, and that LCM would be 24. So my 8, I need to multiply by 3, and I'm going to do the same thing to my 7. So this gives me the equivalent fraction 21 over 24th. And then my 12, I can multiply by 2. I'll do the same thing to my 5, so that gives me 10 24ths. So I have 21 24ths minus 10 24ths. I'll keep the denominator as a 24, and then my numerators, 21 minus 10, I get 11. So I get the fraction 11 over 24. Okay, final example, number 8, 9 tenths plus 5 sixths. So 10 and 6, the LCM of 10 and 6 is 30. So I can multiply my 10 by a 3 and do the same thing to my 9. So this gives me the equivalent fraction 27 over 30. 6 I can multiply by 5, do the same thing to my numerator, and so I get 25 thirtieths for my second fraction. We're adding here, so our denominator will be 30, and the numerators will do 27 plus 25. 27 plus 25 is 52, so we get 52 over 30. I can reduce 52 over 30 by dividing both by 2. That gives me 26 over 15. And now 26 over 15 is improper, so I can make that a mixed number by taking 26 divided by 15. 15 will go into 26 one time, and my remainder is 11. So I get 1 and 11 fifteenths as my answer here. Alright, any questions you had over this video, be sure you have those written down so that we can answer those the next time you're in class. Until then, 6th grade, have a nice day. You're all wonderful people.